It's no secret that Trump hates the media. In February alone, he's tweeted disparaging things about them about 20 times.
And who can blame him? After Pissgate alone, I wouldn't be too friendly with them if I was him.
He's made his feelings about the media very clear. Everything is fake news except information that comes directly from him or Fox News.
Has Trump ever specifically said that? The closest I could find is that tweet you posted about all fake polls being fake news. I do think that statement is rather presumptuous, given that there probably are some polls out there that do reflect poorly on him. To say that all negative polls are fake news is an exaggeration. But given events like Huffington Post declaring Hillary had an overwhelming chance of winning, I think the statement that all negative polls are fake news would probably be more of a hyperbole rather than an outright lie. In any case though, has Trump outright said to only listen to him and Fox News? I would like to know.
His supporters, of course, love this. They rally behind him, yelling fake news and believing anything he tells them.
Not everyone who calls outlets like CNN fake news does so just because they like Trump. A lot of people like Trump because they already believe the media is fake news. You don't exactly need Trump to tell you that CNN is full of crap. I even have a video planned for it. But I digress. Go on.
It would be funny if he was just Donald Trump reality TV star, but now that he's the president, it's just the casual degradation of our First Amendment right.
How is that a violation of the First Amendment exactly? The media lies, Trump calls them fake news. I'm not seeing where the violation of the First Amendment comes in. If Trump was censoring outlets that he deems to be fake news, then you would have a point, but as it stands, all he's doing is exercising his own First Amendment rights. If calling someone a liar violates the First Amendment, then by that logic, Snopes and PolitiFact are both guilty of stifling free speech.
Oddly enough, Trump supporters tend to claim to be huge supporters of the First Amendment. They often call themselves free speech advocates and cry when someone blocks them on Twitter or doesn't pay them to speak at their university.
Okay, first of all, I don't see anyone in that list of tweets claiming that you're violating the First Amendment. All I see is people calling you out for being a pansy that has to block everyone they disagree with. And second of all, just like Steve Shives, you've completely mischaracterized the UC Berkeley event. You described it as if Milo asked UC Berkeley if he could put on a presentation, they said no, and then people responded claiming they were violating free speech. But what actually happened was, Milo asked UC Berkeley if he could put on a presentation, they said yes, and then the students threw a temper tantrum, getting the event shut down due to safety concerns. Not only is that a violation of free speech, but the fact that they resorted to violence means they fit the definition of terrorists.
Here's what the First Amendment says. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now obviously, this doesn't say anything about individuals blocking other individuals on Twitter, or universities deciding that they don't want to pay bigots to speak on their campuses.
Again misrepresenting UC Berkeley.
But what it does say is that Congress can't make a law abridging the freedom of the press. So far under Trump, Congress hasn't done that, but with a president who actually calls the press the enemy of the people, it's not too far-fetched to imagine that they would.
You are aware that Trump isn't part of Congress, right? If Congress decided to write a law limiting the press, Trump wouldn't be the one writing it. He's part of the executive branch, not the legislative one. Additionally, each of those media outlets has done some extremely shady stuff in the past. While many of these outlets might post some facts, the lies they tell are still destructive. Just look at what happened as a result of the hands up don't shoot lie alone. Now I will grant you that statements like that can be questionable, but considering all the bullcrap we've heard from them, I don't see why he shouldn't call them out.
In fact, Trump has said that the media never will represent the people, and we're gonna do something about it. If that's not an ominous threat to stifle the freedom of the press, I don't know what is.
Okay, I'll grant you that too. That statement is very ambiguous. But until he actually does something, it's hard to prove that this is an affront to the First Amendment.
In general, the United States is relatively good at having a free press and transparent government, according to Reporters Without Borders. But it's not perfect. In the past, when people have leaked government secrets, they've been punished for it, and Trump has made it clear that he won't be making things any better in that department.
Gotta say, I didn't expect to find this much common ground with you. Now the case for leaking government secrets is a relatively tricky one. I do think there may be at least some secrets the government should keep, such as information we know about groups like ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Say we know where one of their leaders is and it becomes common knowledge. If it ends up on the internet for everyone to know, then ISIS will know and move said leader to another location. But in the case of Edward Snowden, I think he was completely justified to leak those secrets. Because the government spying on us is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, and if the government isn't acting within the Constitution, then I'm not going to stand with them on protecting their secrets. So this is something I do disagree with Trump on.
At a briefing on February 24th, Trump barred prominent news organizations like the BBC, Politico, CNN, the New York Times, Los Angeles Times, and BuzzFeed News, even though he allowed in Fox News and Breitbart. That may not be Congress impeding the freedom of the press, but it's definitely the White House picking and choosing news organizations that will look favorably upon it.
Ah yes, this little controversy. So we've established that this isn't a violation of the First Amendment, so they have the right to do it, but is it ethically right for them to do so? First off, I'd like to refute your claim that they're picking and choosing outlets that will look favorably upon them. One thing you'll notice about a lot of reports on this story is the way they put emphasis on the fact that Trump let in Fox News and Breitbart. This is a sleight of hand in order to convince you that the only news outlets being let in are conservative outlets. However, this is not the case. CBS, NBC, and ABC were all let in, despite the fact that Trump listed each of them in his tweet, declaring them to be the enemy of the American people. Additionally, the Daily Mail was also apparently barred from the meeting, despite being a conservative source that has for the most part treated Donald Trump favorably. So this claim that they're simply picking news outlets that like them doesn't hold water. The intention behind blocking these news outlets is unclear. It's possible that Trump appointed someone to look over these news outlets and rank them based on how genuinely reliable they are to report factual news. This theory would explain why the Daily Mail was blocked, given their less than spotless record. However, whether or not this is the case is debatable, given the fact that at least 3 media outlets that Trump considers to be fake news and Fox News were all allowed in. So again, the actual intent behind this action is difficult to ascertain. In any case though, are these actions morally sound? Honestly, you could make a case either way. Outlets like CNN have been lying to us for too long, and they need to have some form of consequences for their actions, otherwise they won't have any incentive to stop. On the other hand, said consequences should be that people stop listening to CNN rather than the president barring them from attending a meeting. However, you could also point out that audio from the meeting is available on the Washington Post, therefore the outlets that were blocked are still free to report on it. Frankly, I can't make a conclusive argument one way or the other. I think this is a case that would warrant a discussion. In any case though, it's not a violation of the First Amendment.
I don't think it's a partisan issue to say that Trump is attacking our freedom of the press and that we have to defend that.
Well, if it's not a partisan issue, then why wasn't it a problem when the Obama administration tried to block Fox News from one of their meetings? Trump's relationship to the mainstream media now is really no different than Obama's relationship to Fox News. I don't think Fox News is a legitimate source of news either, but unless you care about them as much as you care about all the other bullcrap media outlets, you can't claim this isn't somehow partisan.
Because the way Trump discusses the media is very dictatorial. Hitler's Nazi regime used the term Lügenpresse or lying press to discredit any media organizations that criticize them.
The difference is our media actually is a Lügenpresse.
Even today, many countries highly censor their media and only disseminate information through official government channels, and that's exactly what Trump is heading towards.
Slippery slope fallacy. Heck, what you just described is pretty much what the mainstream media would have been if Hillary had won, given that she was expressly given veto power over the New York Times, as well as general bias in her favor from most media outlets.
He's insulting and discrediting the mainstream media.
No, the media discredited themselves through habitual lying.
And he's saying that people can only get valid information directly from him.
But is he preventing you from getting your information elsewhere? As long as he doesn't outright prevent any of these media outlets from presenting information, all he can do is tell people to listen to him, but he can't force them to.
Now that would be a messed up thing for any leader to say, but it's particularly concerning when this leader has such a problem with lying. Trump still can't admit that his inauguration crowd was tiny, even though we have photographic proof.
I could be wrong on this, but wasn't it just Trump's press secretary that made that claim? While it is possible Trump told him to say that, I don't think there's anything confirming it was so. Additionally, part of the issue with the crowd size thing are the factors of people blocking entrance to the event, as well as how many people simply watched the inauguration online. So you could argue that there may have been more people in total watching the event from the various YouTube channels that were live streaming it.
And he keeps claiming that he had a landslide victory in the Electoral College, even though he objectively did not. As recently as his February 16th press conference, he said that he won with 306 electoral votes and that it was the largest win since Ronald Reagan. Except that he got 304 electoral votes, and Obama got more electoral votes than him in 2008 and 2012. Even just for Republicans, George H. Bush got more electoral votes than him in 1988. His Electoral College victory ranks 46th out of 58 elections, which is nowhere near a historic landslide.
I will grant you that Trump does have a bloated ego, but did he lie about this, or was he just being a blowhard?
How are we supposed to trust this president and believe only his information when he regularly lies about basic facts?
How are we supposed to trust the media when they regularly lie about major facts? They still push this idiotic Russian conspiracy theory with no evidence, yet immediately lambast Trump for accusing Obama of wiretapping. They completely misrepresented Trump's comments on American soldiers to make it sound like he was berating them, and let us not forget Pissgate. The media has proven that they will lie when they see fit. They don't just simply make mistakes, they will foster falsehoods if it fits their narrative.
On February 12th, senior White House policy advisor Stephen Miller said that the president will not be questioned. If you just listen to the clip of him saying it, it sounds like what you'd expect a dictator to say.
You're taking that out of context. He was talking about the Seattle judge that halted Trump's executive order for the travel ban.
I think that it's been an important reminder to all Americans that we have a judiciary that has taken far too much power and become, in many cases, a supreme branch of government. One unelected judge in Seattle cannot remake laws for the entire country. The end result of this, though, is that our opponents, the media, and the whole world will soon see, as we begin to take further actions, that the powers of the president to protect our country are very substantial and will not be questioned.
He's not saying that you can't question how Trump uses his power, just the fact that he has said power will go without question.
We need to be concerned about this, and if you cared at all about the First Amendment, you'd be supporting news organizations that stand up to Trump, not calling them fake news.
You reap what you sow. If they don't want to be called fake news, then they'll stop reporting fake news. As much as I agree that it's important for people to question the president and how they use their power, that doesn't excuse you for making crap up. So far, the strongest argument you could make towards Trump impeding the free press was that he kept them from attending a gaggle which was recorded and posted on Washington Post for everyone to see. So there's really no harm being dealt. And admit, if Obama did something like this to an outlet like Fox News, you wouldn't have a problem with it. That's all I have left to say. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.